My personal project was creating a documentary on the three most bizarre Indian religious ceremonies and explaining why they are followed. I chose this topic because I always found it tough to believe and truly understand religion, and I've always heard about so many of these crazy practices of Hinduism, and I was very curious as to why people follow these ceremonies so blindly. Ceremonies like people marrying trees and dogs, or walking on fire, or attaching hooks to their backs. This is a part of my documentary. Religion in India has always been deeply ingrained in the life of Indians. Religion can add a beautiful layer to social life through rituals and festivals which have been passed through the ages, and most of them are generally known to bring people together. But some others, not so much. So most Hindus try to stay pure in their lives and not commit any sins. But the Aghoris are different. The Aghoris go out of their way to challenge the fabrics of Hindu society. They have the belief that God lives within them, so nothing they can do can be considered unpure. And due to this belief, they have some extremely questionable rituals.
वे रोज मदिरा का सेवन करते हैं, खुद मृतकों को डाक में रहते हैं, उनके साथ निवास करते हैं और कब्रिस्तान में सोते हैं. I think this project has definitely made an impact, especially there are so many of us like me who are confused about religion and are curious for answers and can get them through my documentary. It also helps the people who blindly follow religion, as they can get a better understanding of the harms of these ceremonies to make a more informed decision about whether or not they want to follow them. What was the biggest challenge that you faced? The biggest challenge I faced was definitely managing my time, as we had a lot of work from each subject as well as the e-portfolios. I started my project rather late as I was unsure about my idea for quite some time, so I was behind on a lot of my submissions and I was delayed in making my product by almost a month. However, despite all that, I managed to persevere and I was proud with what I had accomplished throughout this entire journey. I also found it hard in the beginning to get information on my topic, as it was rather uncommon. Any information I got was usually from sources which weren't verified, and it didn't match when I cross-referenced it with other secondary sources. Thus, I had to use research skills to go deeper and look for better sources of information. I also had to realize that I had to focus on my primary research a lot more than I was to get different perspectives and information as well. What was my biggest takeaway? My biggest takeaway from this project was the lifelong skills I developed. Specifically, I learned how to create a professional documentary in which I communicated with experts and managed to learn a lot from them, as each expert I spoke to had a totally different perspective. I also greatly improved on my researching skills, as since this isn't a very common topic, I had to go to extreme depths to look for good sources of information. These skills will be with me for my entire life, as even if I'm not creating a documentary, communication and research skills will help me in any sort of project and my everyday life as well. What advice would I give to the next batch of students? I think the best advice I can give for the next grade 10 is to do something they genuinely enjoy doing. Like for me, it was creating a documentary, as the project will be a lot more fun and easier to do. Also, I would say that they should start as early as possible so they don't get stuck in any stage and don't have piled up work at the end. Because in the later stages of the personal project, we will have two e-portfolios and mocks and midterms to work on simultaneously as well. Thank you.